Hello everyone, this is Dr. Vyshnavi, your ENT faculty from PrepLadder, and with me I have Dr. Mohsin Ahmad Reshi, and he is a FMG student who's just passed his exams with an amazing score of 220. I am more than proud to interview him, and I thank him for giving me this opportunity for interviewing him. Welcome, Dr. Mohsin. How are you feeling?
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, the feeling has just started to sink in that I just, scored, a good score in this exam. I've been able to, overcome this hurdle, and it feels relieving.
Okay, and what was your reaction like as soon as your exam results were out?
To be honest, when I typed in my roll number, my
So, welcome, Dr. Mohsin. How are you feeling?
Thanks a lot for inviting me over here, ma'am. It feels a lot, I feel a lot relieved after getting the results.
Okay, and how was your reaction, you and your family? How did they feel as soon as they saw your results?
Ma'am, when I put in my roll number in the PDF and it was looking for it, my mind just went blank. I didn't know what to expect, what not to expect. But when my score came up, I was practically shivering.
Okay, and your parents
After,
are jumping in joy of happiness?
yes, ma'am, they were really happy.
Yeah, I can imagine the situation and the vibe that would have been around you as soon as your results were out. And in fact, I also have that so much of happiness, and I have sometimes even tears of joy when people message me and tell me that we've cleared our examination, because it's a big thing in every student's life to clear the examination and be able to work as a doctor in India. Okay, so let's begin from the beginning. How was your preparation? Like a brief, can you give us a brief understanding of what strategy did you use for your preparation?
And specifically for FMG, I started preparing in the August, September. I started almost by ending of August 2023. I had just come back after being my final professional examination. We were waiting for our results. And I, taking this exam seriously, it was that point that I actually took it seriously. And initially, I wanted to go the conventional way, the things, the resources I had already used. I actually wanted to go that way, but it was proving more and more difficult. And then I, consulted different friends, a few of my friends, a few of my seniors. All of them, they suggested me PrepLadder. They said it is concise and all the things. And I feel, lucky in a way that I chose PrepLadder that day. And it has been a great resource for me. After that, I started, using PrepLadder as my primary resource. I used to watch the videos, do the, I used the PrepLadder notes as well. And the question banks, they also were really great. So I used PrepLadder through that time up until the examinations.
Okay, that's amazing. Did you use all the main videos, rapid revision videos, notes, QBank, all of them from PrepLadder?
The time was really, I was short of time and I had to revise once or twice. So I used the rapid revision videos as well as the notes.
Okay, that's amazing. If I have to ask you regarding the last minute preparation, because I think early on everyone is motivated, everyone wants to, get into that mood of studying. But as time passes by, most of us would probably feel that, it's too much now. Let's take a break. Let's give in. So there are times when everybody would feel that. Now, what would you do if you were in that situation when you would feel like, okay, let me take a break, let me just chill for some days? What would you do in such times?
I mean, initially, in the first 1 or 2 months, I was actually very motivated. But down the line, in the third month of my preparation, I did actually feel a little bit the life becomes monotonous, and you know you're not very excited with the preparation and the exam. There was a lot of time left in the exam, so I did get a lot distracted, but I tried to keep myself motivated, by talking to my friends. There was a lot of support from my family as well, and they time and again they told me that this is a hurdle you have to overcome, and if you are not able to, it's going to be a problem. If you do it right now, it's not going to be a big problem, but if you leave it for
Okay.
for further, it's going to be a big problem. It's you're not going to do very good.
तो ऐसे
So
कोई
that
मजाक नहीं होता था या फिर सीरियस स्टडी होता था हमेशा?
हम मजाक के दिन ऐसे मजाक मजाक वाली पढ़ाई भी की है, लेकिन मोस्टली सीरियसली की है.
Seriously, because you had less time between September to December, you had very less time.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And actually देखा जाए तो you've done really good for yourself. The 220 score itself is amazing for that 3-4 months of preparation. And I'd really like to congratulate you that वो 3 months में the dedicated studies have really helped you. And there are many students who feel that we are too late in this game, we are too late in this race. So let's give up, let's plan for the next examination. But I'd say that it's never too late. It's just that you need to make your mind and plan your strategy. It's going to work. So if I had to ask you, like last 15 days का strategy क्या था? Notes prep ladder का annotated करके पढ़ते थे या फिर कैसे पढ़ाई करते थे?
मैम मैंने by the end of my preparation during the last 15-20 days I had already annotated like prepared के notes. मैंने to be honest, I didn't do all the 20 subjects.
हम्म.
सो जो क्वेश्चंस बाकी सब्जेक्ट जो मैंने नहीं किए थे, इट वाज द रेजिडुअल नॉलेज जो मैंने ऑलरेडी पढ़ा हुआ था
हम्म.
कॉलेज में. सो द मेन जो मैंने किए हुए थे सब्जेक्ट्स, उनके मेरे नोट्स एनोटेटेड ऑलरेडी थे. सो इट वाज नॉट बिग डील टू गेट वन सब्जेक्ट इन अ डे.
और क्यू बैंक
एंड
कितना यूज करते थे डे में? हाउ मेनी क्वेश्चंस डिड यू डू पर डे फ्रॉम द क्यू बैंक?
per day I would go around 100 to 120. That's it.
Okay. And would you read the entire explanations given or just read the correct answer and go ahead?
मैम अगर सही अगर इफ आई मेड अ मिस्टेक, अगर गलत आंसर दिया होता, आई वुड गो थ्रू द एक्सप्लेनेशंस. अदरवाइज if I knew the correct answer, I would just go with it.
How do you feel the questions in the Q bank versus the questions in the final exam? Was there a good correlate between the questions, like similar quality kind of questions were there?
मैम इस बार थोड़ा we were expecting scenario based questions this time, a lot of scenario based questions this time, and there were a lot of one liners this time.
Yeah.
So considering the topics, it did come from the same topics जो क्यू बैंक में दिए हुए थे. बट थोड़ा सा ये हो गया था कि क्यू बैंक्स में थोड़ा सिनेरियो बेस्ड वगैरह होता है, तो वहाँ पे ये वन लाइनर्स आ गए थे. बट इट वाज ऑल द सेम. इट वाज नॉट समथिंग यू शुड बी वरीड अबाउट. इफ यू डू क्वेश्चन बैंक्स, ऑल द juniors who are gonna attempt this exam in the next June, I would say, like, if you do Q banks really well, I think it's gonna be a great boon for you.
Okay. And did you attempt the champions exam?
Yes, ma'am. I did attempt both of those.
And what was your score like in the champions exam?
मैम चैंपियंस 1 में मेरा 209 आया था, एंड चैंपियंस 2 में 230 आया था. सो द फाइनल स्कोर वाज लाइक एवरेज ऑफ दोस टू.
Yeah, so I think it's wonderful that it was more or less the same correlate जो champions exam में था. I think that's quite similar to the final exam. And I think whenever we are strategizing question papers for champions exam, we do take a lot of effort to understand previous year's questions, and that's how the entire team, entire educator team and the content team come up with a question paper which is going to be relevant for the current exam scenario, because we just can't randomly put any question paper in front of the students, but we really take an effort to make sure that it simulates more or less the final exam paper, so that students get a hang or a taste of what the final exam would be before they attempt it in the actuals. So I think the score, I think, is reflective of what you did in the champions exam versus the true score is more or less reflective of the same. Okay, so
I'd say even the feeling that you get after giving the real exam,
mhm,
you you know for you have your mind on all those questions जो आपने गलत किए हो, आपने जो सही किया है वो आपको एग्जाम के दौरान ही भूल जाता है, because those are really easy questions. बट
mhm,
जो आपने गलत किए हुए होते हैं उनका पूरा माइंड उन्हीं पे हुआ होता है. So I was more worried in the initial days after giving my examinations, even after giving champion examinations. You do
mhm,
get that feeling like I would score anywhere between 80 or 90 marks. But when you click that analyze button and you are actually like, I'm in the safe side,
mhm.
even that feeling is same after giving champions exam and the real exam.
Okay, did you prepare alone or did you have a group of friends to prepare with you?
No, ma'am, I actually prepared alone.
And where do you stay and where did you prepare for your exams?
Ma'am, I came back from my college and I started preparing at home. So
Mhm.
throughout the entire time I was staying at home, I just went back to my college once or twice for documentation. That's it. Otherwise, all
Okay,
the time I spent at my home.
okay. And where's your home?
Ma'am, it's in Kashmir.
Oh wow, amazing. The most beautiful place on earth is Kashmir, and you got to prepare yourself in the heaven, I would say. Okay, so without having people around you who are preparing for the same exam, didn't you find it a little difficult कि कोई मेरे साथ पढ़ नहीं रहा है, मैं वो मतलब that aura of people preparing together, you didn't miss that?
It was a good thing in a way because when you got up from your books बंद की थोड़ा सा बाहर गए तो फिर इंसान थोड़ा रिलैक्स कर पाता था. अदरवाइज कॉलेज में इंसान पढ़ता था तो it was everywhere, हर कोई पढ़ रहा होता था. So it
हाँ.
was added stress. It just added more stress. But in here I got that जब पढ़ रहा होता था इंसान तो पढ़ रहा होता था, रिलैक्स करेगा तो रिलैक्स ही करेगा. There is no in between.
So I think in many ways you've set a tone for many of the juniors कि ना पहले इतना मत सोचो कि बहुत लेट हुआ है प्रिपरेशन के लिए, और don't think that I'll postpone for the next exam, and you can still go ahead with the preparation even in the last few months. I think that's one very good example to take from you. Also, that many of us in the FOMO that we have to study with a group of friends, with a library set up, with so many things around us. I think that is another thing that you prove us wrong, that it can be done at home, it can be done in isolation, there's nothing wrong, it's only the choice that matters, whether you like it this way or that way. And the third thing you just said, that use one resource, which I also feel is very very important, because distractions bahut hai, and the moment you get distracted, you probably are losing out on your scores. So I would definitely say that using a single source like you did is a big big message that students should take forward from this session from you. ओके, अभी वापस आते हैं टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट कि एग्जाम के तुरंत बाद कैसा फीलिंग था. यू डिड यू फील दैट हम लोग लाइक यू वुड क्लियर द एग्जामिनेशन, या कैसे था, व्हाट फीलिंग डिड यू हैव?
Now, as I said, like you have your focus on things you didn't do right
हम्म.
instead of the things that you did right.
हम्म.
That missing tile syndrome. ये नहीं किया तो शायद नहीं होगा.
हाँ.
But I can't tell the juniors कि you immediately feel relieved after giving the exams. It's impossible. But इंसान बहुत सारी चीजें अच्छी करता है जो इंसान को याद नहीं रहती है. But
करेक्ट.
so
एंड वन
all
मिस्टेक
of my
दैट
focus was on those things जो मैंने
यू
गलत की थी, and I was really worried about it. Yes,
Uh,
ma'am.
I said the one mistake that we do in the exam that will keep lingering in our head, whilst the 100 corrects that we did, we will forget.
Ma'am, until I got my result, I was 50, शायद 50% पास हो जाऊंगा, 50% शायद पास नहीं होऊंगा. So that thing, I was really worried after giving my exams.
Okay, wonderful. ओके देन एग्जाम लिखते वक्त कोई एजुकेटर दिमाग में आया, लाइक डिड यू सेंस एनी ऑफ द रिकॉल फ्रॉम द वीडियोस कि कोई ऐसे वर दे recalls of the videos that you saw through the app? ऐसे कुछ था?
Ma'am, there was a question of malignant otitis externa, I guess. जैसे आपने explain किया था, exactly like that. And there was a question of Meniere's disease, exactly like that. Ma'am, I think when you describe the development of hair, उसमें जैसे आपने वो arches वगैरह वो describe किया था, and there were like 2 questions from that. एक तो मेलियस की फोटो दी हुई थी, और आई थिंक मेलियस इनकस की फोटो दी हुई थी, एंड प्रीऑलिक्यूलर साइनस, both of them, like they really, टीचर सामने आता है, सामने बोल के जाता है, ये गलत मत करना. It's like that feeling.
Okay. Other educators के बारे में कुछ कहना चाहोगे? Like, who are your top favorite educators from PrepLadder?
Ma'am, Dr. Preeti has been, she's a, tremendously good educator. And she, simplified, like she made it a cakewalk. Maths and micro, she made it a cakewalk. I'm very thankful that I got to learn from her.
Yeah, she's an amazing educator. I truly like her sessions as well. Okay. And anything else that you would like to tell our juniors, like क्या करना चाहिए और क्या नहीं करना चाहिए before we end the session on the last note?
Ma'am, there are 2 sets of advices. The first advice is to those who have got a lot of time. For example, those who are in their 4th year, 3rd year, or even 2nd year, for that. Make your basics strong. उधर almost 150 क्वेश्चन अगर इंसान का बेसिक स्ट्रांग होगा तो 150 हो जाता है इंसान का. So make sure that you read your Robbins well. Make sure that you use a good source for this microbiology and pharmacology as well. In that time, clear your concepts so that कल जाके आपको difficulty ना हो. Even in final year, for that matter of fact, read medicine very well, read gynec very well, read surgery very well, orthopedics. Like the easy question, easy मानता है कि ये subject just हो जाएंगे, वो होते नहीं है फिर लास्ट में, इंसान को फिर वो रह ही जाते हैं. सो माय एडवाइस टू द जूनियर्स हु हैव टाइम, utilize it well. And to those who think they don't have time, like if you have completed your final prof, or you have completed your final exams, you have come back from your country, जहाँ से ये की है MBBS, still there is a lot of time. If you give your 100%, I think you can crack it easily.
I think that was a wonderful piece of advice. And just before we close, do you want to give a shout out to your family or your friends or anybody who you think are very important for you?
Shout out to the friend that back in 2020 who told me, पढ़ ले, serious हो जा. अब time नहीं बचा. It's a very good, you have a great opportunity to be something. Please don't waste it. And shout out to my family as well. They have been really supportive. And my friends as well.
Okay, amazing. So talking to you has been really, really amazing, Dr. Mohsin. And I think we learned a lot of lessons also from you, a lot of important pointers. And there are a lot of messages that the juniors can take away from you, especially having learned that, you were from an outside country preparing just a few months ahead of the examination, using PrepLadder as your primary source, sticking up to your notes, your Q bank, giving the champion examination and grand test. I think these are all the messages which the student has to pick up, because these are like mandatory rules for anybody. So I think the great messages have been put forward by you, and we at PrepLadder are extremely proud of you, and we truly congratulate on your great success. And we are here for you today, or for any other help that you need ever in the future. We are always there for you.
Thank you, ma'am. It's been an honor learning from you, and thank you for giving me this opportunity as well.
You're welcome, and thank you again.
Thank you, ma'am.